How much longer are we going to continue to do the same thing over and over and over? Sanity. Don't we want our sanity? Insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Naysayers. Oh, that'll never happen. People say, my mama did it this way. My daddy did it this way. Well, let me tell you a story I heard. This man got married, and his wife cooked the Thanksgiving ham, and she cut the end of it off. And he said, why are you cutting the end off of the ham? And she said, I don't know. My mama always did it this way. He said, call Mama. I want to find out why you're cutting the end off the ham. So they got Mama on the phone. And Mom said, well, I don't know. That's the way my mama always did it. So he said, get Grandma on the phone. I want to know why you're cutting the end off of the ham. So they got Grandma on the phone. And Grandma said, well, honey, that's the only way it would fit in my pan. Now you see, 3 generations later, they're still doing something they saw done, but have no reason why. How much longer are we going to keep doing things just because we saw it done that way? Think about this. Kunta Kinte said, my name is not Toby. They beat him and beat him and beat him. And he continued to say, my name is not Toby, until he knew they would kill him. And he knew the only way to take care of his family was to tell a lie. And when they said, what's your name? He said, Kunta Kinte. How long are we going to beat the Lord into believing his name is Jesus? When that man lived on this earth, not one single person ever called him Jesus. Not one. Not one. Especially not his mother. His name got changed to Jesus when they changed that story into English. English. Where did English come from? Why is English the universal language? How come everyone all over the world is learning how to speak English? Because it's one world religion named Jesus. One world government named Jesus. The Pope. The Catholics. Who is in the White House? The Catholics. Why is it a White House anyway? Why is it called the White House? Was that the only color pink that they had? Why isn't it the Rainbow House? Why do we need a leader who won't give 40 acres and a mule to the descendants of the slaves when he's black? What about the Mexicans? What about the Native Americans? When are reparations going to be made? Do you really think Jesus is going to come back and fix all this? How can a man come back who never existed? Jesus never existed. The man's name was Yeshua. You can say, oh, but out of respect. Oh, but we translated his name. Oh, but. You can come up with all kinds of reasons why you call him Jesus. But the book says there is no other name given in heaven or on earth that is higher than the name God said call him. And that is Yeshua. You can say, well, he's got many names. Jehovah, Yahweh, Emmanuel, Master, God, Father. You can call him anything you want to, but that book says there is no other name given under heaven, in heaven, on earth, under earth, that is higher than the name God said call him. And that is Yeshua. Don't tell me I have to believe in a name called Jesus when there is no name called Jesus. Even when a Mexican comes over here and his name is Jesus, you don't call him Jesus. You try to change Jorge into George. You try to change Maria into Mary. But you never call Jesus Jesus. Why not? Huh? If I go to China, my name is still the same. If I go to Japan, my name is still the same. You can translate anything you want except a person's name. God said the beginning of understanding someone else's language is to learn how to say their name. You must learn to say Yeshua. He was making the people think differently. He was telling them things so they weren't going to church and paying tax anymore. They weren't going to work and paying tax anymore. People stopped commerce. They stopped going to church. And the people who liked to play Monopoly got mad and killed him. The naysayers, those people out there who would get so angry at you that they would hit you, they would call you names, those are the ones that actually killed him. And then they made up this great big story that if you believe in a name called Jesus, you're going to heaven. Well, what if it's not true? You can say, you believe it, you believe it, you believe it. With all my heart, I believe it. But until you die, you don't know the real truth. You just think you do. So I say, at least for now, choose me to be your new leader, and I will take all that nonprofit money and pay off all your debt. I will pay off all your mortgages, all your child support, all your bails and bonds, and get you out of jail and teach you how to represent yourself. God said it was a lawyer who wanted your money that said only a fool would represent himself in court. God said to tell you only a fool would not represent himself in court. And the reason that we have court the way it is because we're letting them get away with it. We're letting them keep people in jail who are innocent. We're letting them put people in jail who are innocent. You do not put drug addicts in jail. Drug addicts did not figure out how to make crack. That was a scientist. And it was the police, the government, that distributed it to the people. The people who needed help. The people who have mental illness. The people who have had violence done to them were given drugs that made them feel better. They didn't figure out how to make a glass stem and take chore boy that you use to clean pots and pans and tear it into little pieces and ball it up and put it inside the glass, and take cocaine and baking soda and figured out how to boil it inside of water in a spoon to come up with the little piece of crack that you put on the copper and then heat it up and hold it in your lungs until you feel better. They didn't figure that out. A scientist did. The government figured it out and then distributed it. And everybody knows it was a government official that gave it to the dealers, that distributed it to the streets. Why? Why are we putting drug addicts in jail when our own government did it? They're taking our land through eminent domain, or they're saying we didn't pay our property tax. They rally around us and say, oh, we're going to help you this, we're going to help you do that. Just like Obama. It's time for change, it's time for change, it's time for change. When, Obama, is it time for change? Huh? Have you ever